Do you know what acquisitions means? That they bought everything. They bought it all. Every last bit of it. They bought all of it. You know how I know that they bought all of it? Chat, give me the name of a fucking company. Any company over the last years that's had an influence over our country. Any company. You know what I mean? That they bought everything? I mean bought everything. Give me the name of a company. Any company that's publicly listed. Give me the name of a company. Give me the name of a company, chat. Somebody said TikTok. TikTok's not an American company. All right, let's start with Tesla. Boom. So what we do, okay, very simple, is we go right here, okay, and we go to holders. I'm gonna teach you guys how to run this shit. Top holders, companies that, between these two companies, Vanguard and BlackRock, they own 11% of Tesla. 11% of Tesla. These two companies own 11% of Tesla. Give me another
company literally owns the world. BlackRock is a company you probably never heard of. In less than 30 years, its founder became so powerful that he's made investors billions of dollars and can control economies around the world.
It is my pleasure to inform you that Bud Light has suffered its worst sales drop since the boycott began. 26.8%. This is terrible. Bad news. The boycott is somehow getting stronger. Consecutive have made it clear to BlackRock and the World Economic Forum that their Marxist ESG agenda will be met with severe consequences. Bud Light suffered its worst weekly sales drop as it plummeted another 27% as, of course, of partnership with trans influencer Dylan continue to cripple beer giant. This is unbelievable. They never expected that something like this would happen. I recently came across a story.
It's just, you have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And that's not just not recruiting, it is development, as Ken said.
Yes, welcome back. This is BlackRock CEO. Somebody wrote more companies should try to become private again. It's becoming a plague to be publicly traded. The first ESG will cripple the USA. BlackRock CEO Larry, you have to force behaviors in companies when it comes to gender and race and diversity and inclusion. For some time now, you will realize what is happening to companies. After this interview, I clearly see what is happening now.
It's just, you have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And that's not just not recruiting, it is development, as Ken said.
How do you force change, though? I mean, Larry, BlackRock has really been in the forefront of the ESG movement within corporate governance and a real leader. And yet change is so slow. So what is, and Ken as well, how do you force change when it is so incremental and so gradual? How do you do something more radical? Have you thought about that? Has the board of American Express thought about more radical things we could do to enhance diversity and inclusion?
Because it has to be imbued in the culture of a firm. It has to be talked about, it has to be shown. Behaviors across the entire firm in every region have to be similar. And every citizen of the firm has to understand what is acceptable behaviors and what.
I recently came across a story about James O'Keefe with BlackRock exposing something I don't know if you have seen. I will not play this video on this channel because I realize Google is suppressing this story. When you search this on Google, you will not be seeing it. Which is something I realize it starts like this and censorship will come in. That video tells me one thing. BlackRock control all politicians. If you can tell me with just this sum of money you can buy a politician, I put out a video here last week where this man made it clear that, they control what we think. Companies, etc. They can control behavior in general. That is what he said on this video. When I saw this and looking back on what people have been talking about, tell me it conspiracy, I saw the truth in it. Butler is suffering as a result of people like this. Because they want to have high ESG scores, they will just need to succumb to some of these things. It is crazy. Because they want to get loans, from these banks. If you don't follow the rules with higher scores, they will not give you. This is actually a good sign to these people. The boycott are working. For people who never believe in it, you can look through to see what is happening. But like recently got dethroned. It is to clearly signal something to these people. People are realizing the truth.
Black Rock revelatory video. Now, of course, James O'Keefe, he's famous for his performance in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
Focusing on James O'Keefe's performance in Oklahoma. A lot of people really like that. It was pretty extraordinary. What we know about BlackRock is they're the third largest economic entity in the world. Look at him.
After making a huge mistake, he lost his company $100 million and got fired. Although his reputation was ruined and no one would hire him, Fink was determined to make a comeback. So with the help of a friend from college, he started an investment company called BlackRock. Fast forward to today, BlackRock manages $10 trillion in assets and owns most of the major banks, pharmaceutical companies, and even mainstream media. And while some believe that no company should have this much power, this goes to show that the quietest person in any room is usually the most powerful.
They own the world. It is true. You saw at the beginning of this video where this man brilliantly did the demonstrations. You will see it just as it is. Tesla, BlackRock is there. Nearly all American companies you can think of. Like he said, somebody said TikTok. TikTok is not an American company. You can check. They own higher shares into this company, implying they bought everything, right? So you need to be involved in diversity because they top your companies. You have no say, to disagree with some of these people because of situation like this. People have been wondering what is happening with companies. If you do this research, you realize just the truth on what is happening. It will not bother you again. Yeah. Thank you guys for always being there sharing on my videos.